the prediction is that by the time we are 2030, more than 42% of global young people will be found in Africa. This is quite broad, but also because it brings in business process outsourcing for services that are outsourced by foreign companies into your country. And it's good for young people to understand how do you position yourself for that. We have organizations that are building platforms to match people with work. Hi, welcome back to Job Tech Voices podcast. I'm your host, Samson. And we are on episode 3. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm quite excited to have you back again for this third episode. And there's a lot that we need to talk about. And for this episode, we'll be talking about what exactly is job tech. Because I understand a lot of people might be hearing about job tech, but you do not understand exactly what job tech is and what it's all about. And job tech ideally refers to jobs that are interconnected to technology and are tech-enabled. And when you think about job tech, you're looking at several categories of work. And that is what our podcast will be all about. We've mentioned digital economy, gig economy, AI, online freelancing, but also there are specific categories. And when you reference Job Tech Alliance, you'll see there's a taxonomy that they have created for job tech to deeply help you understand. But looking at job tech, we are looking at one, online enabled jobs, or rather online platform jobs. And these are jobs that are found on online platforms, and most of them are done online. For online freelancing, these are jobs that are found on online freelancing platforms. And we have major platforms such as Upwork, freelancer.com, Fiverr, Guru, among other platforms. And this is one of the oldest type of job tech or digital related work that is delivered online. And we've seen a lot of people working on these platforms. We've seen people delivering a wide variety of skills and working for different companies. You'll do their graphic design, you'll do digital marketing, you'll do writing, content writing, software development and web design, translation, transcription, among other types of jobs. That is online freelancing. And people still make a lot of money out of this. And there are different scenarios that happen, but mostly it's you go into a platform, for example, Upwork, you create an account as a freelancer, and then a client will create their own account as a client, and the platform will match you, and a client can post a job, then you can apply, you start working through the platform. But things are changing, and now we are seeing other types of opportunities and models of job tech. One other case is for e-commerce and retail. And this is something that is coming up strongly. Initially, we had a few e-commerce stores like Amazon that are very well known, but that model is changing very fast. Nowadays, you do not have to necessarily post your products on Jumia or Gigi to be selling online. Now we see smaller types of e-commerce platforms. Even TikTok nowadays, you can have your TikTok shop and still sell to people. And for young people, it's good to understand that these are still forms of job tech, and this is how the future of work is changing and evolving. That means that retail and sales is moving from traditional means of selling into online and e-commerce. But another category that I would like to mention is microtasks. Microtasks and online freelancing are very close, but they are different. For online freelancing, you have longer term projects. You have to use a platform, but you'll interact with the clients, you'll discuss the terms of payment, you'll exchange messages. But when you look at microtasks, a lot of time you don't even interact with the client. You get into the platform. A lot of people know it as tech type of jobs. You'll get into the platform, take your contract, do the job, deliver it, get paid, and you never have to chat or interact with anyone. And we've seen this, especially with the rise of AI, this has been quite huge. There is the famous Remote Task, there is Appen, and many other platforms where you can sign up, do a few tests, deliver your work according to the requirements, and you're paid. There are different advantages and challenges or other opportunities and many things around that. And I believe in our subsequent episodes, we'll have people here to come in and share and talk about microtasks. What are their advantages or what are their challenges? And how do you position yourself if you want to get into that space and if you want to grow into that space around microtasks? Let me also talk about job matching platforms. And this has come up strongly over the last few years, where you do not necessarily need to make a lot of applications or move from one website to another when looking for a job in different companies. We have organizations that are building platforms to match people with work. For this case, it can vary. Sometimes it can be offline work that you can go out and deliver offline, but also it can be work that you do still online. The other case is for online platforms that enable offline work. And this one, we are talking about gig economy and gigs. And we are looking at ride hailing. We are looking at companies like Uber, Bolt using those type of platforms. The job is offered offline, but you are able to access it through a platform. In this category, we also have other forms. Nowadays, we have people delivering food, like through Glovo. We have cyclists that are able to take up these type of jobs and deliver using their bicycles or e-bikes, but also we have motorcycles, and we have smaller cars for Uber. But this is also a fast evolving type of job, and that is evolving because of technology, and it's changing a lot. And so those are some of the categories that we'll be looking at. And last but not the least, there is business process outsourcing and remote work. And this is also gaining a lot of popularity since 2020 COVID. A lot of people are working online and remote. But for remote positions, there is that in the country, but also working remotely for an organization outside your country or in another continent. This is quite broad, but also because also it brings in business process outsourcing for services that are outsourced by foreign companies into your country. And it's good for young people to understand, how do you position yourself for that? How do you find those companies? How do you get the right skills to work for those organizations? And if you want to venture into this type of business as a founder or an innovator or an entrepreneur, then what are the things that you need to look at? The other models that I didn't mention, something like influencer marketing. And we are seeing with time, there's a lot of demand for influencers. And as a young person, there is a space and there is room for you to make money out of that. Each of these categories I've talked about, they are very vital in defining the future of work for our young people, whether it's in Kenya or the of Africa, but mostly Kenya and Africa. These are the trends that you need to know about and think about how they are going to change the way you look for a job, the way you work, the way you generate your income, the type of people you interact with. But even if you're in employment, how do you plan yourself for the next few years? How do you upskill yourself and map out your career trajectory? Especially for those people who are very much interested in digital and technology. But why should you care? Even beyond that, you realize that according to World Economic Forum report of 2024 is that more than 60% of young people in Africa are under 25 years old. Probably you're one of them watching these podcasts. And the prediction is that by the time we are 2030, more than 42% of global young people will be found in Africa. And what that means is that Africa is the future of work in terms of young people. And that is one of our greatest resources in terms of having a very young population that can provide workforce to the world. And this conversation around what job tech means and different platforms or different types of jobs that are under job tech is important because, one, it will inform you of different job opportunities that you need to look into. Number two, it will inform you of how to structure your education and skills gathering journey to prepare yourself. But also for innovators and entrepreneurs, it helps you see gaps and opportunities where you can build a company, a startup, or a business that will thrive and support you into those coming years. And number 4, for policymakers and decision makers and people who are influencing the way we build policies and laws, and even non-profit organizations that are keen to empowering young people, this is a conversation that you cannot stay without or you cannot miss, because it's a way to understand how do we need to handle young people and employment. In the coming episodes, we are going to get deeper into this. We will bring people who have experience in this, people who have practiced digital work and have interacted with job tech. People can share their experiences, their successes, their challenges, but also people who are able to educate us and help us learn. There is a lot of conversations around AI, and also look at how AI is getting into all this conversation, and we learn together. So thank you so much for tuning in. And if you've liked this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time.